If this right here, 108,000 was the top of the cycle on January 23, 2025, what is your plan if we have a bear market, we have a bust that lasts a year, 2 years down? What would you do? What would you do? Are you prepared for that possibility? Now, this isn't a prediction, but if you look here, January 19th, 2025, I said this isn't a prediction, but it's possible that this is the highest price of the cycle right at this moment. Always stay prepared, caution against euphoria. That was 9:23 Hawaii time, January 19. Let's go into the chart. What happened at 9:23 Hawaii time on January 19 is hour 21. So if we look at where that happened, that was 9. It was right in here. This is me saying caution against euphoria. Everybody's saying new all-time high. And I'm saying, actually, I'm concerned right now. Right here. This is when that happened. So why did I say that? Okay, so the first thing is I've traded for long enough and I've seen enough of Bitcoin to know that it tends to move in booms and busts. And that's okay, that's just what it does, right? There's a reflexive bull market of hype euphoria, liquidity coming in, followed by a bear market. There's a reflexive bull market. There was even one down before, which is just like too small in the chart at this point. It it always happens, and I don't see why this time would be different. It's just the timing. It might not happen now. It might happen later. But it's going to happen at some point. I'm not saying it'll go to zero, but just some kind of decline. And if your answer is, I'm just going to hold through it, spot, I'm going to work on my business, I'm going to do something else, that's totally fine. That's okay. There might be a better way, but that's a really good way to do it. You could just not care if you are doing other things with your life. But if you use leverage at all, if you trade at all, or if you want a chance to, you don't want to see your equity go down, what's your play? So I'll talk about that a little bit, but I want to share that this isn't just a prediction from me, it's also my system is selling out of its positions here. So this is the back-tested system with Bitcoin. There's one set of settings. Here we have a max drawdown of 64% for a 900,000% return. $10,000 into $90 million. Some of y'all will say that drawdown is too big. Well, you can reduce the drawdown by just flipping a switch. Gold, if we look at gold, exact same settings, similar results. 300,000% return, 50% drawdown. So we're seeing we got an exit signal. Why? I'll tell you why. Because a failure at an all-time high is a dangerous place. We had a failure at this all-time high. It is. We had a failure at this all-time high. What happened back in previous cycles when it ended? Failures at all-time high. Failures at all-time high. Failures at all-time high. It's enough for you to go flat. So for me, a lot of it is trading this system. But if I want, me personally, if I want to increase my stack, yes, I can and I will follow this system to some degree. But that means buying, getting back in higher or lower. It might mean waiting for price to get all the way back to all-time high, and that's the moment to come in with leverage. Or it might mean waiting for Bitcoin to chop through some of these levels Or it might mean being out of the market entirely. So check it out. One of the things that this system is good at is not trading the bear markets, of being out of the market during the bear markets, right? Maybe I just don't want to really take positions or trade in here and enter on the far side of things. Now there's a question of what, as well of how low could prices go? And just as prices can go higher than you think, they can go lower than you think and take longer to get there. So let's look at some fib retracements. When Bitcoin made it all the way to 17,000, did anyone think that price would go all the way back to $3,000? I don't know where we would even start this fib from, maybe in here. It retraced at, let's put on 0.886, between 78% and 88% retracement of that move. Now let's look at the next one. Did anyone think when price went from 3,000 to 67,000 that it would go back to 15,000, which was also between a 78% and an 88% retracement? Now, if we had that much of a retracement, it would send price back to $30,000. I personally don't think it's likely. I think the game's changed a little bit. There's not as much institutional leverage up here. There's more passive flows because of the ETF, which I do think changes things, and we're reaching mainstream adoption. So to me, I think what would maybe be interesting would be if price comes back into this area, maybe back to $50,000, $60,000, bleeds back here. Now, it might not happen. Again, I'm trading reactively, but I'm just preparing for possibilities. If price were to take the all-time high and close above, again, I would be interested in trading it as another impulse move or trending move higher, which Bitcoin tends to, or at least when there's breakouts of significant levels, just hold them, which I can give you a couple examples of here. I'm going to turn off these, the gaps here. When Bitcoin broke this all-time high right here and sustained above it, it just went straight up, right? Or when Bitcoin closed above this major high, it just kept going, and above this high, it just kept going. And finally, when it broke out above this all-time high, it just kept going. It tends to be reflexive and people FOMO in at those times, and it gives the market some legs and room to run. Now, part of the strategy might be, all right, well, we're going to trade gold and we're going to trade NASDAQ at the same time, or the S&P 500. Problem is they tend to be correlated during bear markets. I mean, look at 2002 for S&P 500, it was down. Look at the NASDAQ for 2022. And of course, we can look at Bitcoin for 2022. And we could even look at gold for 2022 was just straight bear market. So the problem is everything's correlated. Now, what you can do is use a system like ours to reduce risk, mostly get out of the market, reduce exposure significantly, like here, and wait patiently on the sidelines for price to come low, and then to be a buyer and trade and wait for the next major bull, which comes around every 4 years, every 3 to 4 years. So where are we on this chart right now? Let's be realistic. Where are we on this chart? Are we at early bull or late bull? We're at late bull, right? This was middle bull, maybe. We're at a late bull stage. So price could maybe keep going, but it could be donezo. I mean, I called it as right here, right at this moment. I think this might be the top right at this moment. So Another thing that I'm doing is I'm trading bots. So this is the dashboard. It's getting set up. We need to improve these labels, but I showed you guys my real account. I'm up money on the year, and we made the most money through the altcoin dump. This on this day or these 3 days is where we made all our money. You can see it's this bot number 3 that's been driving all the gains. But we have a bunch of different bots, and different ones will step up at different times. But we're gonna have it set up so that we can turn bots on and off, set the max drawdown to whatever. Let's check it out. Yeah, let's take a look at bot 3. So here we can see it had a pretty significant drawdown here. But in the 5 years, since it's back tested, it's running like 700%. I can't tell you what this bot is exactly, but it's operating off of crypto perpetual futures data. So my plan for the bear market is I'm going to let crypto bots run. I'm going to allow my positions in longs. I don't have very much exposure right now. As of today, I'm recording this. I have no long exposure aside from some long exposure in the bots. And I'm touching grass. I'm making educational content to help people. I'm surfing. We have an awesome surf season. I'm doing things of this nature. And I will come back. Where did I deleted the? There it is. And I will come back later in the year when it makes sense. So I just want you guys to be safe, to have a plan, and just to be realistic of what might happen. And again, it's not a prediction. It's possible we get one more impulse. It's also possible that the bear market's really mild. It doesn't last that long, or it doesn't decline that much. It's more of a sideways bear market. That's possible too. But I just want you guys to be prepared. So if you want to trade with us, there's a link down below to the MTP system. And we also there's a link down below to get updates about the crypto trading bots. Look forward to seeing you on the inside. Much love.